You're listening to DraftKings Network.
This is Greg Cote entering as that can't be what I think it is.
Wow.
That's Elton John. That can't be Harry Styles.
That guy's got style.
Sir Elton.
I heard you guys talking beforehand and saying no one is going to know based on sight which punishment Greg Cote is paying. Lucy, it is obvious which one Lucy is paying, but I don't know what it is that Greg Cote is aspiring to with this particular outfit, although he is enjoying being the center of attention with his silver pants and his feathery boa type cape.
He's owning it.
He does look just like Harry Styles. I mean, it's uncanny.
He also looks like his mom, Ruth Cote.
I thought that we were starting with a song, though. I didn't think that we were starting with Greg Cote's triumphant entrance here as Harry Styles.
We couldn't miss that entrance, but you said it, Dan, and let's get to it right now.
All right.
He said he wanted to be in Miami. I've never seen a GM act this way before. I know Dame is gone, so I am trying. I know it's up to me now to score. So hold your breath, because tonight will be the night that I will ball for you over again. I'm dropping 45, or I won't live to see another day. I swear it's true, because a guard like Dame's impossible to find. He's impossible to find.
Beautiful, Jeremy.
Wow.
Hey,
Jeremy is motivated off of Media Day.
Emo Jimmy.
Chris Cote and Tony were out there. You will have a sprinkling of content throughout the remainder of the week. Yesterday, mostly what we got from there was an off-mic laugh from Chris Cote. What happened there, Chris Cote?
Great laugh,
you had a terribly awkward goodbye with somebody yesterday, and the highlights for you was the off-mic laugh. It's all you contributed as content for us yesterday from Media Day was an off-mic laugh.
The best part about that is right before, so there were some murmurings that Jimmy was doing something fun. So everyone kind of had an idea to get your cameras ready for the walk-in. And I had the nerve. I'm the worst. I had the nerve to say to Tony and Jeremy and Taylor next to me, who do you think the media guy is that's going to overlaugh at this thing? I literally said that 20 seconds before he walked in. And then he walks in, and I just couldn't help myself. Tony knows.
Don't make me break character right now. Yeah. Laugh
See, you hear that silence there. That silence there is just me. I hate silence. So even though I said who's going to be the guy that overlaps, he walks in, no one's really saying anything. It's funny. It's obviously funny. So I do the thing and I laugh.
I would like our future media days to all have players in costumes because they don't have to respect this nonsense anymore. Jimmy, we need you to be serious about this about 25 days a season. The rest, you can do whatever you want.
He really did save it yesterday, and I think he deserves a lot of credit because I was ready to go into that media day of like, we got to ask him about Dame. This is
it's
be
funny.
sad.
As performance art, as performance art, it's funny. Come in, everyone's in their emotions. And I'm going to do just professional acting on a day where I'm not taking any of this very seriously. I'm not talking to you about failures.
Right.
I'm going to wear a costume, and I'm going to be ridiculous.
I'm going to say we're going to win the championship. Yeah.
I mean, he says
right?
that every year.
Yeah.
It's really great because last media day was exactly the same as this one. It was a team that was running it back. It was everybody disappointed that they didn't make a bunch of offseason moves. It was Jimmy coming in last year clean-shaven with long attached dreadlocks that were not his real hair, that were there to sort of make a facade of media day. Hey, it's Halloween. Hey, it's hijinks. Also, we're going to make the championship. And then they did. So he comes in and he says, hey, I'm in my emotions. I'm emo. I want to show that to you guys. And what choice do we have but to believe him?
Right.
The whole thing is silly. I was thinking yesterday there were a couple of things, Stugotz, that have outlived their usefulness. One of them is just generally media day where these guys don't need to be doing any of this, but they do it to kick off on a Monday to advertise the basketball season. But the other was a single bad football game at a time. I can't do it that way anymore. I'm telling you, I can't do 124-3 game at a time anymore. I have had my viewing habits changed by football so much that I need it on several channels, and I can't watch that. And I think that this helps the Manning cast because this is something that allows you to leave the boring doldrums of this game's not interesting over here. Let me see if Will Ferrell's doing something over there. And it's the only way you can actually change something as starched as an NFL broadcast.
It's such a strange time in broadcasting and media in general where you're watching the game on ESPN, Buck and Aikman are doing the game, and you have them promoting and telling their audience, go to ESPN2, Will Ferrell is on with Peyton and Eli. And Troy Aikman quickly, after Buck says that, says, no, stay right here. It's like they're fighting on air. Like, never do you send an audience to another station.
Why would you do that? I mean, I would be the guy saying, no, stay right here.
They're all the same network.
Same family.
They all work
I know,
for the
but
same
still,
group of people.
I want
doesn't
eyeballs
care.
on me, not on the other guy. You know,
Buck and Aikman are paid. The money is guaranteed.
You mentioned the one game being not enough for you. I don't like the 4 o'clock window with only 3 games. Yeah. The other day, they were like all blowouts. I'm like, what is this crap I'm watching?
Right.
I need 7 games at once.
See, I disagree.
I'll take the 4 o'clock with 3 games if one of the 3 games is a doozy. It's got to be like an all-time game, like a great matchup, a game you're looking forward to all day.
If you don't have enough football to fit in the quad box, you should not be playing football.
Huh.
Yeah, yes.
I'm a one game man.
You don't even watch any game. You're always walking around your house while watching.
Well,
he's British.
I watched that's right. Thank you, Billy. I watched the entire game last night because I had Seattle winning on an otherwise terrible week for my picks, so I was happy about that. I was imagining on a short week, this offensive line is going to try to block the Miami Dolphins pass rush. I was enjoying that visual. There's always a guy on your fantasy team. You need 9 points from the tight end. There's always that kind of drama. So there's a reason to watch every NFL game, even if Taylor Swift's not there. By the way, I'm jealous of Taylor Smith. I'm going to have to, as Harry Styles.
Taylor Smith.
Greg, slow down. All right, I know you got a lot to say, Harry.
Smithies.
I know you're British Harry style. I know.
That's right, Dan. Thank you.
Can you?
Harry, that's
I'm on a watermelon sugar high.
Harry.
I can't help it.
Can you slow down?
No, I can't. I'm drinking coffee. I'm on a watermelon sugar high. I can't, but I'm going to try for you because it's your program.
We haven't even gotten to Bobby Petrino over there. Lucy,
Pig Suey.
you lost at the Grid of Death, and Bobby Petrino's making a return engagement because I've already done this.
That's where the commissioner has a bone to pick with the proceedings here, because this is a punishment that was already paid off by someone else.
So this doesn't count. Got it.
I don't. Well,
That's not how that works.
That hasn't been decided yet.
We made a creative decision as a unit.
Right.
That some punishments that have already been used are funny and should be brought back.
Yeah.
And so here's one of them.
But wait, Billy is now back to being the commissioner?
That's what I'm saying. Well, I rule with an iron fist. But as you can see, when the cat's away, the mice will play sometimes. And that's what's going on here.
Yeah.
You don't rule here in any way.
I tried to, but the mice are playing, Dan. We just talked about
You don't have
this.
any control over anything.
Well,
the mice.
You are a neutered, impotent commissioner. You don't have anything in the way of real power.
Personal attack.
Falsehoods.
Not falsehoods. You
Yes.
when I tell the most damning truths, that's all you've got as rebuttal is to just whimper falsehoods when
It's a great rebuttal.
Right there,
I mean,
photographic evidence.
Let's see
This
who
has
did
already
it better.
been done.
Let's see who did it better. There's
I have already done it. Lucy, have you sent this photograph to your mother, who is an Arkansas fan?
I don't think she'll speak to me. They're still very hurt over the Bobby Petrino saga there. Yeah. So this one hurts the Rodine family a little extra today, which I'm okay with. We're hurting all the time with college football.
Listen, Dan, I've been trying to get this back on track for weeks, if not months now, if not years, really. It's been kind of a mess. So
Unsuccessfully.
Well, I've been trying. It's only unsuccessful when you finally quit.
But I have
Until then, it's a work in
I
progress.
have no proof, though, that you've been trying.
Well, look, there's 2 costumes here today.
Yep.
One
I'm
of
doing
them
great.
that you have nullified, the other one who
I
looks
did no such
nothing
thing. I
like
said
Harry Styles.
It's up for review. Well,
A 67-year-old, a 69-year-old Harry Styles.
we don't know what Harry's going to look like at 69.
Would you believe me as Elton John?
Are you going to keep doing accents?
No, I hope
Please
not.
do.
Do you have
What do you
a
mean, bloody hell? Come on now.
That's John Lennon. Come on.
It's Britney, bitch.
what?
Come on.
What?
What? Who said that?
Do you have a back in my day?
I don't. And there's a particular reason for that. I've been on a holiday. Just got back from a really short, ill-timed vacation. I didn't have time.
And you're Harry Styles.
And Harry
Greg's not in
Styles
today,
hanging
yeah.
over my head. There's a lot going on.
Right.
You're being paid for these now, correct?
No. No, not unless you're aware of a check, an invisible check.
Well, I am aware of a check that you have not yet cashed.
Right.
I'm also aware of more checks coming. I shouldn't have said you're being paid now because it's
right,
at the
you
end
shouldn't
of the year, so you're not
Allegedly.
being paid now.
Okay.
But you're being tabulated and it's being calculated so that you can be paid at the end of the year for Back in My Day, which has been sponsored, correct?
I don't know anything about that. That's above my pay grade, Dan.
It's not, though.
sponsored.
It's literally your pay grade. It's
rigmarole.
not above your pay grade.
what you're being paid
You've
for.
negotiated these things. It's your literal pay grade.
Yeah.
I have worked here 3 months now, and I have yet to hear a Back in My Day, Greg. That's why
you been
I
paid?
took this job. I have been paid.
Oh, okay.
That's why I took this job, to dress up as Bobby Petrino and hear you give me a Back in My Day.
All right, just for you next week. We're gonna have
Wow.
Don't believe him at all. His words don't mean as little as Stugotz.
You want me to take over this department too, Dan? Be the commissioner Back in My
man,
Day?
You can't be any more impotent, neutered, and powerless
I have 2 children.
as a professional entity.
They run your house, man.
I will volunteer to pay off a punishment tomorrow. Myself.
Wow.
That's funny that you would call it a volunteering,
Yeah.
given that you
Well,
owe about
Roger-
a dozen of them from
Yeah,
last
correct,
year.
but I'm the commissioner. Roger Goodell doesn't play on Sundays, does he?
It's a good point, Billy.
Thank you, Greg.
No, it's not a good point.
If he was in the league, he would.
Which penalty are you claiming that you're going to do tomorrow? Because you have one of your penalties is run to the highest point in South Florida, which is a dumpster near your house, allegedly. But I was told, well, the falsehood is that that's not actually the highest point.
Well,
that there's
no.
another point farther away that you're not actually going to go to that is higher than the dumpster or the hill near your house.
Well, it's not a dumpster.
a
It's
landfill, whatever the hell it is.
falsehoods. It's the hill at Tropical Park. It's a landmark. It's in fact, I don't think that they could build anything there. I think that's why the stadium the UM wants to build keeps going there, because it's a national landmark. It's the highest point in Miami, the hill at Tropical Park. And you know what? That's the one that I'm going to pay off tomorrow. I'm going to go over there. I don't know. I should probably have run this by someone first. I'll go over there at some point during the show, and I will climb. I will traverse the highest point in Miami and climb
Jeremy,
that hill.
do me a favor, please. Look up for me. Somebody find for me what is the highest point in Miami as a fact to see if he's going to the wrong place and if his punishment's going to be nullified
No,
when
the
he does it incorrectly.
Well, no, the wording was you have to go and climb the hill at Tropical Park. I'm just saying that it's the highest point. I'm just being cutesy-wootsy.
Okay, but that doesn't fulfill the punishment.
Well, the
that
letter of the law, it does, yeah.
shouldn't be one of the punishments. Regardless, you have been truly epically terrible as commissioner, even by the lowered standards of commissionership throughout sports, where all of them are just very rich buffoons. Like all of them.
I'm a buffoon.
All of the commissioners in sports are given an intellect and traits of wisdom that they don't deserve just because sports leagues that are successful continue to always be successful. And the money for the owners always goes up, and commissioners in general are over-regarded as intellectual leaders.
I've got a Reddit post that says Rock Ridge Park because there's a bunch of rocks and you can stand on top of those, and that's a high point.
Yep.
Do it.
What is Rock Ridge Park?
I
Couldn't
found
tell
the
you. I can
same
look up
thing.
more.
Yeah. It's where you're going.
Something you should have looked up before you chose the punishment of the highest point in South Florida.
Hey, it's Mike Ryan. I want to talk to you about Miller Lite. What's your favorite place to watch a game? Is it at the stadium, at a sports bar, in your living room with your pals? I'm sure all are great, so long as you have that beautiful white can of ice-cold Miller Lite by your side at just 96 calories a can. Miller Lite is the only light beer you'll want to celebrate the great game of football with all season long. Whether you're at that stadium, whether you're in that living room, whether you're in that bar, please just make sure Miller Lite is by your side. Crack it open. Crack it open right at kickoff. Time it out. It's amazing. 96 calories. That's right, folks. 3.2 carbs per 12-ounce serving. Smooth taste, crisp, clean finish. You know it. You know it. I tell you every week, you get the taste you crave without the calories. This season, crack open a light beer that hits your taste buds so hard, you feel it in your heart. Make it Miller time all season long. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Fall is just around the corner, and if you're like me, you're settling back into a busier routine. You know I like to go on vacation, so I'm going to be traveling a lot this fall to football games and events with Golic and DraftKings, and that's why I recommend Simply Safe Home Security and their revolutionary home monitoring innovation, 24/7 live guard protection. It's designed to help stop crime in real time. Now, if an intruder breaks into your home, Simply Safe professional monitoring agents can actually see, speak to, and deter them through Simply Safe's new Smart Alarm wireless indoor camera, warning them that police are on their way. The new Smart Alarm indoor camera is also the only indoor security camera that can trigger the alarm and instantly deter intruders with a built-in siren. Simply Safe was named the best home security system of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. For a limited time, get 20% off your new system when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Visit simplysafe.com/DLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Don Le Batard. I got somebody here making fun of me. How old do you have to be to reference Shecky Green? Man, I went comedically there with the funny name of a comedian. That's on you for not knowing who Shecky Green is.
Oh, you got to know who Shecky Green is.
No, you don't have to know who Shecky Green is, but
your ally.
I don't like my allies
King
here.
of the Borscht Belt.
Stugotz.
I have the soul of a Borscht Belt comedian. I should be in the Catskills in 1945, opening for Shecky Green. That's who I was destined to be.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
We will get to Billy's Marlins in a second. Skip Schumacher is going to join us. Just a wonderful name for a manager, a perfect name for a manager. The Marlins begin the playoffs today, and it's an exciting time, as it has been now for 18 months in South Florida sports. But the place that I wanted to start today with Greg Cote, Homer Greg Cote, who fought me last week on the idea that Buffalo and Kansas City were as balanced as Miami. I'm just curious, as people listen to this, if they realize that the Dolphins have the worst defense in the division.
Yes.
Which wouldn't exactly make them as balanced as you would like them to be, and have allowed so many points this season that the only teams you will find with them are like the ones you're laughing at. Denver, which allowed 70 in a game. The Bears, who have been bad. Like, the defense is not, you cannot say after 4 games that they're balanced. And in fact, Billy Gill, I was stunned by this, because we're only a month in and he's overreacting and hyperventilating on every emotion. After putting Jason Sanders on notice, is ready to put someone else on notice.
Yeah. Vic Fangio's on notice right now.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. You want him to come down from the booth?
Nope. The level is get it together. That's where we're at right now.
Okay.
We'll see where things go from here. But right now, he's got to get it together, Dan.
They have played the Chargers. They played the Broncos, who have a good offense. They played Buffalo. They have played some good offenses.
Okay, but Stugotz, yes, that is correct. And it's only 4 games, and they're injured. I don't expect them to be that bad this season. However, through 4 games, in points allowed, a pretty important statistic, they are allowing twice as many points as the Buffalo defense, which is, this is flatly, a better defense than theirs.
Sure.
The Buffalo defense, the team they're competing against, has similar offensive capabilities, and their defense, Buffalo's, is better than Miami's.
A more important stat, though, for the Dolphins, 3-1. I mean,
but if you're a defensive genius only against bad teams, you're not a defensive genius.
But schedule factors into these things all the time. Dallas has had the easiest schedule so far. Their remaining schedule is the hardest in the league. You can make these measurements based on injuries and who it is they're playing against, but they've allowed 119 points.
Against good offenses is what I'm saying. Did they get the Giants? They get Carolina? They get the Patriots?
I told you yesterday, the San Francisco 49ers have scored 30-plus points in more consecutive games since when they had Steve Young.
Right.
The Dolphins, on average, are making every offense look like the 49ers offense. So you can tell me they're good, but so far through 4 games in this season, they have not been good. They haven't been good by, I don't think, any measurement.
They also haven't been extremely healthy. Jalen Phillips has missed half the games. Jalen Ramsey's not here. Call me a crazy homer, but I almost look at that as I'm optimistic looking forward. We're 3-1 with that bad defense. If Vic Fangio can just figure it out, maybe he comes down from the booth, gets his hands on the players. But I'm being serious that I think that there's room for growth, and that's almost encouraging.
Chris, they'll figure it out by playing bad teams. That's what I'm saying. They have a bunch of bad offenses coming
They're not figuring it out. They're just beating bad teams.
Okay. I mean, win's a win.
There were a couple of odd coaching strategies in the game Sunday that really hurt Miami. Number one was putting Kahoo, the second-year cornerback, on Stephon Diggs.
But he's been fine.
He's been fine, but he's not Xavier Howard.
Right, and he was bad on Sunday, but before that, I think he's been
worse
fine.
than bad. It was the worst cornerback performance I can remember from any Dolphin player. And number two, I don't think the Dolphins know what they are yet offensively. I think they think they're all Tua and Tyreek. This is a team that rushed for more than 300 yards the week before. And against Buffalo, they had 7 carries in the first half. That's not the way to beat the Bills, is to get into a shootout with Josh Allen in Buffalo. If they're running, if they want to be a balanced team, run the ball. Trust your offensive line, which has been one of the pleasant surprises on the team. Dolphins don't know what they are right now.
The Bills' defense their run defense is much better than the previous team.
Okay, but
you're
if
going
you
to change up your strategy each week.
You don't have to kowtow to what you think the opponent's strength is if you're confident in your own strength. I thought the Dolphins should have run the ball a lot more Sunday earlier, and I thought they had a bad strategy on how to cover Buffalo's by far best receiver, and both of them blew up in their face.
And I think you can probably expect that the Dolphins will adjust and run the ball more as they move forward in this season. Mike McDaniel was most known, yes, for the way he was going to be able to unlock Tua, but more for his run design when he was in San Francisco.
Yep.
And if you look at San Francisco, a team with a ton of weapons who could throw the ball all over the place all the time, what do they primarily do? They run the ball. And that's, I think, ultimately what Mike McDaniel wants. But when you look at the defensive side of the ball, is it not fair to just say, hey, when Jalen Ramsey comes back, this will look a lot different? Like, you have one of the 5 to 10 best cornerbacks in the league who is not there, who teams refuse to throw to on one side of the ball, and it makes the rest of your defense look a lot better. Is that not just the solve?
It's why he's here, and it's not quite that easy, because I don't expect him to just parachute in off of that injury and suddenly be able to cover Stephon Diggs when he hasn't run around in a while. That offense is going to be a problem in Buffalo for Miami, period. That defensive line in Buffalo is going to be a problem for Miami in whatever form it presents itself. But before we get to the Marlins stuff that I do want to get to, you don't dispute what I'm saying, right? That even with Jalen Ramsey, worst defense in the division.
Yes, right now, yes.
No, not right now. I'm not saying right now. I'm saying period. I'm not saying right now. It's obvious right now.
But you're projecting. You have no idea if they're going to get better or not.
I am asking you guys, based on what else is in their division, you trust the other 3 defenses in the division. Why would you trust this one exactly right now, based on what that you've seen?
I don't trust the linebackers, but I do trust the secondary and the defensive line. I will admit Jerome Baker, if he's your best linebacker, that's not blowing anybody away. But I think this defense can get better. I think
the design of it is your secondary is supposed to be elite, safeties too, and your pass rush is going to make them ball hawkers. Like that's the design. But they're not bothering people. Like they haven't bothered an offense yet, except for Mac Jones. And Mac Jones was still throwing into their end zone at the end of the game.
So fine, I'll concede that, yes, they're the worst defense in their division. But I'll also say they probably play the toughest offenses in their division through 4 games. Like the Patriots went on the road. Did they have a good defense? They went on the road against Dallas. Dallas scored 38 points. It happens. You go on the road against good teams in the NFL, they're going to score a lot of points on you occasionally.
The Dolphins have really missed Jalen Phillips the 2 games he hasn't been in there, because under Fangio, they used to be a blitzkrieg defense. They attack the pocket more than any other team with blitzes. Now they don't. They rely on a 4-man pass rush most often. And when you're missing Jalen Phillips, it matters a lot. Jalen Phillips and Jalen Ramsey, the 2 Jalens, you can't underestimate how much not having them is hurting this defense.
Let's see what their defensive numbers look like after 2 games at home against the Giants and the Panthers.
I agree. The regular season
These next 2 games,
22% over.
We eat.
Let's talk for a second about what happened to the Giants last night, because
God, I hate them.
They're bad.
You loved Daboll so much last year. Couldn't have him on God Bless Football enough. We're talking about how he was the quarterback whisperer who can fix recklessness, and now they're just bad. 10 sacks. That wasn't even his fault. Like, Daniel Jones wasn't good, but now you got him at $15 million this year. It's $47 million next year.
Yeah.
They're down 14-3 late in the third. You drive down. You're thinking, we've played like crap, but we score here. We can win this game. Pick 6. I mean,
What's
I
he
hate that
supposed
team.
to do, though?
Not throw a pick six.
I mean, he got sacked like a billion times.
He did.
Yesterday.
That's what Dave
Their
said.
offensive
What are
line
his
is
pieces?
horrific.
Yeah,
Yes.
what is he supposed to do? Not to defend him, but like it's not all on him.
The Giants had Odell Beckham, and I am hard-pressed to give you another number one wide receiver that they have had in this century.
Sterling Shepard.
That's, yeah.
Darius Slayton.
Yeah. That's what you're choosing from, and 10 sacks. That's a bad combination. If you're talking about the Dolphin defense being designed, hey, pass rush and guys who could steal the football in the secondary, the way to not design your offense is receivers who can't get open and offensive linemen who cannot block with a quarterback who's going to turn the ball over if you give him those two conditions.
That offensive line was the worst I've seen in recent memory. And Daniel Jones is also a guy who needs that number one running back healthy. And it really hurts him for the
He
lack
is
of
their
a-
running back. I
Well,
mean,
he was
right.
like
Yeah.
he was so desperate.
Yeah.
And then Brian Daboll, the quarterback whisperer, is yelling in Daniel Jones' ear because he's so frustrated because his guy threw a pick six. Daboll, no coach in the league, I don't think, has the stock has lowered more since last season. He's the mayor of New York City last season, and now he's just another desperate coach who looks like a guy from a men's softball team.
Do we have accurate information here on Daboll losing more luster than any coach last year? Because I would say the disheveled Bill Belichick in general.
He's up there.
A lot of people. Stugotz called him overrated in a way that appalled Billy. And Billy is used to Stugotz saying perpetually dumb things. Called Bill Belichick overrated and said he should have to wait 10 years before he gets into the Hall of Fame.
I take your submissions and I raise you a Brandon Staley.
That's a good nominee. I might have said Sean Payton before he finally won a game. With a crazy comeback.
Daboll started the season in the first 6 quarters being outscored 60-0. And it is a special kind of hell, Stugotz, when you have one of these offenses. Did you give me the stat yesterday? I don't think you said this on air. That Kenny Pickett, 60% of his passes were behind the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
In the
Yes.
in the last game because he just doesn't want to throw it downfield.
So he throws it backwards.
It's so claustrophobic. So claustrophobic to watch. It's such a misery to watch offenses that play like that on Sunday, where you're throwing to Alvin Kamara 13 times and you're getting 33 yards from him.
They're playing a totally different sport. Like sometimes you watch the Dolphins offense and the Niners offense and you see these wide open spaces right in the middle of the field and everything is humming, and then you have Kenny Pickett throwing it behind the line. 60% of his throws.
I think it was higher.
I don't think that was the whole game, but I think that's
It's
how
impossible.
they started the game, and it's where they got run over.
The Giants have been outscored this season 64-3 at home. If you take the 31 points they scored in the second half against Arizona, if you take those away, they've scored 15 points this season. I mean,
And again, Daniel Jones, $47 million against the cap next year.
And failing in New York is a special kind of hell. That's why what Daboll is going through is magnified. The Jets coach has a little bit of a pass because Aaron Rodgers gets injured after 4 plays.
Not much.
Yeah, not much. But the Giants coach, after actually winning a playoff game last season, if he doesn't make the playoffs again, I'm not going to say he's going to be fired in his second season.
He's not getting fired, Greg.
But
they were one of the final 8 teams last year.
I understand that, but now
he'll be
what
close
has he
to getting
done
fired.
lately? What has he done lately? That's the mindset in New York. You should know that better than anybody as a longtime Jets fan. New York has no patience.
No, I'm with you. It's a tough place, but again, he was one of the final 8 teams in the NFL last year. He's very friendly with Joe Shane. They both came down from Buffalo together, and
Right.
so I just have a hard time thinking, regardless of how bad it gets, that he's going to get fired
I
this
really
year.
don't want Harry Styles and you to be breaking down at long
little
length
football
whether or
talk,
not
Dan, I mean.
Daboll is on the hot seat or not. It's
Yeah.
really not what I want to be doing.
I have a question for Harry. Harry, is
Brought it
Zach
up.
Taylor on the hot seat?
Zach Taylor.
He's the coach of the Bengals.
Why'd you tell him that?
No.
Well, he's not from
Why
here.
would he
wouldn't
be?
have- Why?
That was a classic. I want to isolate Zach Taylor.
Billy, you had him cornered. Billy, go sit in the penalty box for 2
him
minutes.
off the hook.
teammate.
No,
The old
yes, that's
say-
right. That's right.
That
For being a
move by
good
my
teammate.
dad was say the name back.
Right.
Zach Taylor.
Yes, that was a stall move by Greg Cote to
No.
try and.
For a minute, I was thinking of Staley, who's on the hot seat.
What is his first name?
Brad, isn't it?
Yeah,
Brandon.
Brad Staley.
Brandon. I call him Brad because we're friends. It's like a nickname.
What?
Thursday Night Football is on. And it's only on Prime. All of your favorite teams, all of your favorite players, and an iconic broadcast team featuring Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. Be sure to check out the incredible matchups all season long. Thursday Night Football, it's on Prime. Pre-game coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon. Not a Prime member? Not a problem. Simply sign up for a 30-day free trial, and you can cancel at any time. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
Don Le Batard.
Mike, Marty Schottenheimer passed away.
Stugotz.
Why do you sound so
How did you say that?
Yeah,
so
you're very
happily?
excited
That was wrong tone.
I was not excited. I was not excited.
happened?
Unbelievable.
I was merely pointing out that a Browns legend had passed away.
Hold on. That was
And
guys, Marty
unbelievable.
Schottenheimer died.
Hold on.
And maybe the greatest coach to never win a Super Bowl.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's just settle down. Let's all settle down.
Do you hear?
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
We will get to Billy's Marlins when he returns from the penalty box.
That's amazing. I do the same thing with those two head coaches.
Yeah.
I mistake them all the time. I really do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Why?
the Bengals and
What?
Alright.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why. They're like the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
thank you.
think a lot of people are doing
I'm telling you.
that. You already told me. I don't need
One's
your
an
telling
offensive
you there.
genius, one's a defensive guy.
Generic white guy paired with a quarterback from the same draft class. Okay,
Yes.
maybe I
Yeah,
see what
you
you're
got that
doing.
right.
Thank you.
Hello.
That's all coaches.
Hello.
Guy who looks like he might be wearing loafers in the photograph of a frame you buy at the store.
Yes.
Because
You're coming
they all
around.
generic coach guy.
Posing with a golden retriever and his family in a stock photo.
We can find about a dozen of those in the NFL. But again,
Nope, that's Sean
I'm not
McDermott.
going to apologize because I don't believe anybody but you and Harry Styles over here is doing what you're doing. Before we get to the Marlins, though, I wanted to ask everybody what is happening here. Jeremy, most of all, because he's around the Heat and does some reporting. Why is Kyle Lowry at Media Day but not speaking to anybody? He has had a really tumultuous time in South Florida, much of it private, where he is missing time for personal issues. Whatever the personal issues are, I do not know what they are. But Kyle Lowry has struck me since getting to Miami, Stugotz, as a borderline Hall of Famer, a favorite player in the history of the Raptors. He's had a certain experience with basketball that is not the aging experience with basketball. And when a guy shows up at Media Day but doesn't talk to anybody, when he's historically been maximum affable, maximum professional, it makes me wonder, like, what kind of state is Kyle Lowry in with his relationship with this franchise? He's got the guaranteed money, and if the Heat didn't learn it with him, they've learned it with his help recently. Guards at that age descend poorly. That size and age, they descend quickly and poorly. Do we know what the relationship is between Kyle Lowry and the Heat, and does it indicate anything that at Media Day, a new beginning, symbolically the open of a new season, your star is, wearing a costume or having his hair done and looking ridiculous on purpose? Why is Kyle Lowry not talking, and does it mean anything that he's not talking?
I think it's a great question. I think that their relationship is complicated. He came in to a franchise that expected to have success with him as a focal point of that. They've had success whether or not he has been the focal point. And his relationship with Jimmy Butler is really how he ended up here. The two of them remain really close friends. When he doesn't want to speak with the media at Media Day, obviously that's a sign of contention between him and the South Florida media. We have been critical of Kyle Lowry in a way that he probably never experienced in Toronto because he had so much success in Toronto. But it's a really edge-filled relationship between him and a lot of our local reporters, because there is sort of a, hey, Kyle, if not for you, then what? And that's sort of been the narrative throughout the last couple of seasons, and I think it's really impacted how he feels. He doesn't want to talk to any of us.
Do veterans just have that pull, though? Could it
Yes.
just be that? Also,
in this organization, yes. So
Like, if he
that's
just
another
doesn't
part
wanna
of this
talk.
is that Kyle can walk in, smile at the media, wave hello, and in the way that the Heat will handle it, their PR guys will take the hit. They'll come up and say, hey, look, Kyle's not going to talk today, and that is what it is. That's the way the organization does things.
I think another factor here, and Jeremy, if you think I'm wrong, correct me. Kyle Lowry has always been super sensitive about the idea that he's out of shape, he's 15 pounds overweight, he's aging, and I think that's part of this. But the whole idea of the media day is sort of an archaic trope in journalism. I'm surprised it still exists, but if it does exist, every player, including the stars, should be made to avail themselves to the media.
I honestly think I think I can say this, having consumed much of the coverage from yesterday, and we'll have more for you later in the week here. I thought Kyle Lowry said more by not talking than anyone there said by talking yesterday. If you're being introduced in a new season to, let's see if there's repair here, let's see, and this part is not irrelevant, let's see if he can be careful around the microphones instead of just shutting it down and bringing yet more questions. And the answer is like, no, can't be even careful around the microphones. Might be afraid of what he might say if he's being silent, if he's being honest.
I thought Tyler was the one they were going to hide yesterday, but he was out making rounds, doing podcast hits. Not with us.
I do think some of this is just veteran fatigue, right? Like, I remember talking to Kyle briefly when we were trying to get him to come on the show when we were in Tahoe. And
Look at me,
fair. He didn't really want to come on the show, but I asked him about going to Summer League. Like, hey, are you going to Summer League this year? Did you stop there before because it was this week to support the guys? And he's like, nah, man, I'm a vet. I don't need to do that anymore. Like, he's been through all of this stuff so much that sometimes he knew what he was going to go fit. Hey, what's it like to not trade for Dame? Hey, what's it like to be brought in through this media circus? He doesn't want to answer the questions, and I think that's fair.
Understood. Well,
I don't. That's part of his job.
Well, you just brought up, hold on. You just brought up that media day is this archaic, sort of outlined, outdated concept.
But Greg is saying if you're going to have them,
correct,
then have them.
Right. But
then
we're
every
changing
player
it now.
needs to step up to the podium and answer the question.
I don't disagree
That's fair.
in the general sense that anybody should be willing to take any question from the media under the normal circumstances. This media day, as we talked about, is sort of hybridized now. It's different. There's podcasts, there's radio, there's internal stuff. He still showed up and did all of the things he was supposed to do for the Heat organization. He didn't speak to the media. Now, we all know part of the reason why these guys get paid the money that they do is because of the relationships with the media and how important it is to build the narratives around it. But one individual player who's been in the league for this long, taking this particular stance with this particular organization and this particular season, I don't think it's necessarily a modicum of things to come.
They're coddling him. Pat Riley should say, Kyle, I know this isn't your favorite day of the year, but you are being paid a lot of money to avail yourself on media day. It's part of your job. And if it isn't part of his job, it should be. It should be made clear to him. You're not asking for anything extraordinary. You're not demanding that he give a great soliloquy with a wonderful quote for everybody. He can answer in one-word answers if he chooses to, but just be there. Stand up in front of a microphone and do your job.
Was Riley there? Like, where was he? Did he speak? Did he answer questions?
No, Riley did not.
About his failures?
Riley did not speak. But let's discuss a couple of different things here.
That's a good point, though.
Thank you. Yeah.
He normally speaks after the season.
Greg, who did you interview yesterday there?
I was on a cruise ship. I was not there.
Which one?
It was ill-timed. What's it called? The impresario, the impression.
Why don't you make yourself available to the players on media day?
Yeah, come on, Greg.
I was not there. I'm sorry.
It's your job.
It's your job. Your
I'm
job is to show up.
Harry Styles. I have a lavish lifestyle.
Yeah.
All right.
Travels the world.
Harry Styles has heart-shaped glasses right now that are fogging up.
They really are.
They're plastic and they're cheap. I understand. I don't want to make a big deal out of this because it's not a big deal. I found interesting and curious the way that Kyle Lowry in general is covered because it wasn't once upon a time that a guy could have personal issues, leave the team and miss games, and that wouldn't be a problem with the organization. But when Jeremy says the Heat are good with this, veteran courtesy, Shaq did it. He was plenty tired of it. LeBron did it, at least in part, because when he got here, Dwayne Wade was like, we meet with the media twice a day here. That's how we do it. LeBron didn't want to do it anymore either.
But the narrative around those guys, like as Jeremy pointed out, Kyle, like this market has been very critical. We loved those guys.
It's Mike's fault, let's just say.
Mike's been the most
a
critical.
little bit of Mike's fault.
It has to be said, honestly.
Yeah,
That's why Mike's afraid to talk to him in Tahoe. I mean, Mike's been as critical as anyone. I blame Mike for
That's
all of
the
this.
reason?
Yes.
That we are speculating or reporting that Mike Ryan is the reason that Kyle Lowry isn't talking to anybody in the media.
I wouldn't quite say that, but I would say that Kyle is not any of those players. Kyle is not Shaq to this team. Kyle is not, and he knows that himself. Kyle, more likely than not, may come off the bench as a backup point guard who's paid a lot of money.
Who's the starter?
But he's a veteran at the end of his career who's gone through a lot of this. And I wouldn't say as far as the Heat are okay with this and this is like la-di-da, sunshine and rainbows. But I think that the PR staff has to do their job in understanding, all right, this guy doesn't have that relationship. He doesn't want to do this today. And we'll figure it out from there as to when to make him available to the media. Because Kyle Lowry will speak with the media. It just wasn't on media day.
The big difference is Shaq wasn't being traded. LeBron wasn't being traded. You're feeding Kyle Lowry to the media at a really difficult time in his life, I'm assuming, for him.
I mean, Mike Miller lived there. Shane Battier lived there. I know. This is look, man, I really don't want to make a big deal about it, but when I saw it, I'm like, that's interesting. At the very least, it's strange to me that this is how Kyle Lowry has decided to live. He's going to show up for photos. He's going to show up for whatever the team obligations are, but going to go out of his way to not answer a single question from anybody.
And Tyler Hero, more than anybody on the team right now, lives in that space where the team spent the whole summer trying to trade him away and failing. And Hero is the guy who might have had a reason to really not want to talk to the media yesterday, but he did. And Lowry should have had the same professional class.